This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Aadam Hamed here in Manchester. Adam, it's fight week, it's your return. I imagine you've got kind of a lot of pent-up frustration, a lot of pent-up aggression you want to let loose on Saturday night before we come on to all of that good talk. How are you? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling really good. All relaxed, everything's calm, and I'm just very eager to get into that ring and fight. And obviously, I haven't been fighting for a while because of the hand injury, but I'm looking forward to Saturday night.
I don't know whether hurdles a bit of a strong word to say at this stage in your career, but I imagine obviously, as we said, there's some sense of frustration that you had your chance to headline your first bout and of course had to pull out there because of your hand injury. How do you feel now you can reflect on that time, this period in between?
Do you know what? It's been a frustrating, obviously a couple of months, due to that time where obviously I had that hand injury, but everything happens for a reason. But it's just like obviously I'm back in the gym. I had an amazing camp. I had an amazing camp the last one, but this one was even more better. But I'm just looking forward for Saturday night, and I feel like that this Saturday night is going to be I'm gonna put on a great show.
How much time have you spent studying Faniian ahead of Saturday night?
To be honest, I've studied him. I've seen the mistakes. I've seen the good side and the bad side of him. But I feel like that he's got basic fundamentals. I don't think he doesn't carry a lot of speed. I think early in the rounds for me that I think he won't cope with my speed. I think he's going to throw, and I feel like this is a perfect fight for me. Showcase actual my skill, because I feel like that he's going to try to bring it all, because obviously he's Ukrainian. He's going to have that flag with him. Obviously, he did say to him that I've come from Ukraine in the mountains, but I've come, I'm a British Pakistani and I'm Kashmiri, so our blood's very strong as well. So
I remember kind of the Reyes fight and the build up to that, and it ended up being some invaluable rounds for you at such an early stage of your career. Let's say if you used to go down a similar route, you used to gain rounds, whether you used to stop him late, whether it used to be early, wherever it may be. But do you feel like maybe a sense of frustration that certainly the British boxing fans won't give you credit of any results against somebody like a Faniian or like the Reyes fight because they're not known over here?
yeah, do you know what? To be honest, they're not very known, but they're very good caliber opponents. Like, out of my early stage of career, no one would be taking these fights like this. Like, I'm only 21. I'm fighting, and obviously Santo Reyes, who was 12-0, and he didn't lose known fights, and I'm the first guy to beat him. So that shows that I can go with these type of opponents. Even Faniian, he's like 23-1. But obviously that's a big step up for me as well, and I feel like that the caliber of the opponents that he fought, they're not the calibers of the opponents that I've faced. Like, I feel like my opponents that I've fought are better than his.
When you step between the ropes, obviously everybody expects excitement, that quick hand speed to be on show. How crucial will it be that because of any frustrations you've had, you don't allow the occasion to slightly get on top of you and you kind of just run away with the feeling of being back in the ring?
Do you know what? To be honest, like as I say, everything happens for a reason. Like, my feeling to be in the ring, whatever outcome it is, I'm always going to stay in the ring. I'm going to be working hard. I'm going to be training hard to put everything in that ring. And on Saturday night, I'm not leaving that ring until I get that knockout victory. Like, obviously, there's going to be rounds that I'm going to break him down and hopefully knock him out. That's my plan, because this fight's dedicated to my granddad, and I'm not going to leave that ring until I get that W in the knockout victory.
You mentioned obviously dedicating Saturday night to your granddad. Do you feel like with that in mind, this is the most motivated you've arguably been heading into a fight?
Yeah, this is a massive motivation for me for this fight. As on my shorts that I have, I've got his name on there. So this fight means a lot to me, and it's just very tragical, because it's a massive death in our family, and we've had for me, I couldn't go to the burial because obviously I had to stay and do my fight, but Hassan went, so my brother did. So at least he went up there, so which is a good thing. So.
Obviously, I've got nothing but sympathies and condolences going to yourself and your families with regards to your granddad, but coming back and swinging back to this coming weekend. And moving forwards, how do you look at the British scene now? I know the name Dalton Smith's always been mentioned, but looking at the British title specifically, whether he holds it or not, is it still something which is on your mind, something you want to go and compete for, or are you more so thinking, if I fight for it, I fight for it, but ultimately my end goal is to be a world champion?
Yeah, you know what? British title is an amazing title to win. Obviously, Dalton's won it. He's won it 3 times now. I don't think he's going to vacate it, right? Because, yeah, I imagine so, because he's obviously bought the belt out, right? But my route is different. I want to become world champion, and for me to take obviously a Faniian fight, he's in the European rankings as well. So I want to get myself in the European rankings first. So.
Do you still think that a Dalton Smith fight will be possible in the future?
Do you know what? It's a lot of talks, but I've still got my journey I need to continue. He's got his journey. It's a mega fight. It's a big fight, but I've got to get this job on Saturday night first. So.
One fight which it popped into my mind when I spoke to Jake, and I wanted to ask you about Aadam Hamed. Obviously, he made his debut this past weekend out in Poland. That could be a huge fight between the pair of you. Nobody knows how good Aadam is, nobody knows how far he could go, but if he can live up to that Hamed name and continue to build his profile, you and him could be huge.
Do you know, I'm actually very good friends with Aadam. Yeah, so all respects to him. Like, he's a good fighter. He's had his pro debut, and obviously Adam's not had an amateur fight, but obviously he's fighting under his dad's name. Obviously, I spoke to Prince Hassan a couple of times, and their sons are really lovely, and I wish him the best of luck. I hope he does really well, and that fight on Saturday. Is it Saturday? It was. Yeah, just come now. That's just like getting him into the pro rankings. He's not had amateur fights, so he's just gonna build that experience. But I wish him the best of luck in the professional games, and I hope he does really well.
Obviously, I can see that you've got quite a good relationship with him, but unfortunately, this is boxing, and you never know what could present itself. If at some point you were both to be at a similar level, do you think it could be possible, and do you agree that could be a huge fight?
Do you know what? Anything could happen, really, innit? So, but we both got our different paths at the moment. But obviously, I just wish him the best of luck. Like, he's going to do really well, and obviously, like, he's had his fight on Saturday. He hasn't walked to the ring before, like, obviously boxing, and obviously, but I just wish him the best of luck.
You've both had very big pressure in your careers. Obviously, he has it because of his last name, his surname, whereas you've had it as you're the next star of British boxing, you're the next generation coming through, and you're kind of like the poster boy, if you will, or one of them for Sky Sports. It's a lot of pressure for anyone to deal with. How have you found that side and that aspect of things now?
Do you know what? Everything's starting to ease down for me because I'm quite used to it now. The pressure doesn't get to me. As long as I'm training hard, nothing gets to my head. Obviously, the one thing in boxing that your mindset should be always good outside of boxing. You might have problems with family issues, might have problems with financial problems, you might have problems just because of obviously depression, but keep your mind straight. Keep it good outside the ring as well. So with me, like, I keep myself very good. Obviously, I had that tragic death of my granddad, but I know that he was said to me, keep training, keep working hard. So the pressure doesn't really get to me. I'm just I'm a guy, like, I love all the media, but when I get into that ring, I'm a different beast.
I mean, I hope I'm never in that ring with you, Adam. One thing I'm also interested to know is I've never asked you, I've never asked Hassan, but going into fight weeks, if ever you're sharing a bill with him, all the talk is about you being that superstar, as I mentioned. How does Hassan find that in terms of, we both know you're both very talented, but it's always kind of your name which is maybe mentioned a little bit more. Does it bother him? Does he concerned, or does he enjoy kind of somewhat slightly going underneath the radar so he can focus on his own career?
Yeah, that's exactly what you said there. You just answered the question itself, that he's just going on a different radar. Like, obviously, there's going to be a time where his name's going to be mentioned more than me. Or Hassan, he's got this, Hassan's going to be great, Hassan's got this. I'm obviously going in a different direction where I'm building myself up, obviously in the fast track. But, with Hassan, I'm very proud of him where he is right now. And, with me, I'm always, I got that brother love for him. And obviously he's my brother. And, he's an exciting fighter himself. Like, he's lovely to watch himself as well.
Do you get nervous when you watch him?
Do you know what? He might get nervous when he watches me. I get nervous watching him. He's my brother, so I love him, man. So yeah.
Adam, just whilst I've got you a couple of other topics, get your thoughts on the headline event this weekend, Liam Smith, Smith-Eubank Jr. What are your thoughts on it?
It's a great fight. It's a privilege for me to be on the card as well on number 2. So I was actually at the number 1. I was actually really shocked when Liam actually, obviously dropped him and obviously got that knockout victory. But I feel like, I think Liam's gonna probably do the same thing. Eubank, he looked ready, he looked good, but I feel like, changing trainers that early in his camp and only having a period of 4 weeks, I don't think that's enough. So, but I wish him like the best. So, but yeah, it's gonna be good. But I'm itching towards Liam Smith.
Of course, former camp mate of yours, Daniel Dubois, falling short against Alexander Usyk this past weekend. What did you make of Daniel's efforts?
Do you know what? I thought Daniel boxed really, really well. Like, to the point where, obviously the round, obviously they had to stop the fight. But I feel like he done really well. Like, no one expected him to go more than obviously 5 rounds. So, but I thought he done really well. So.
Did you think it was a low blow?
It's very controversial. A lot of people saying it's a low blow. Some people say it's not. But a lot. I personally think it's. You know what? It's very hard. But when I looked at the TV, I thought it was not a low blow first. But then it looked like it was on the belt. So it could be either 50-50 for me. But it's just like right now, it's a lot of talk about it, and I feel like Daniel, he's done really well. So.
It was an incredibly tight call there, and yeah, just kind of before we wrap this up, just one final thought. I get your thoughts on Canelo Charlo. What are your take on that? Do you rate Jamal's chances stepping up 2 weights?
Do you know what? Jamal Charlo is an incredible fighter. He's very explosive. He's got power. Both Charlo's brothers has, but I feel like going up 2 weights fighting Canelo is a big mistake because Canelo is going to be massive for that weight, and I don't know if he's going to be massive. So, but it's a very good fight. But I feel like Canelo is going to win it, in my opinion. So.
All right, Adam, I said to you it'll be about 10 minutes, and it's getting very late now, so I'm going to leave you to have to go and enjoy the rest of your night, get settled in, and enjoy the rest of fight week. Thank you for speaking to me.
Thank you very much.